Good morning, good morning, good morning. Can we please start taking our seats? We can get the show on the road. Hello everyone on Zoom. Hello everyone in the room. Good winter morning. It was fresh this morning, wasn't it? Whew, winter is here. There was no autumn, just summer, pause, winter. Okay. Distinguished guests, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the African Caribbean Investment Summit, Day 2. I would love you if you can introduce yourselves and also the problem which you are seeking to solve. Ngozi, please, would you want to start?
Why did you choose me?
Because of this. What an outfit, beautiful.
Right, thank you very much. My name is Ngozi Oyewole, and I'm going to introduce myself in many ways, right?
Yes.
So I've got a couple of hats on, but we'll just do two major ones that's actually part of the sustainability dream. So I'm the president for Commonwealth Business Women Africa, and we're in 28 countries of Africa. We're in Guyana, we're here in the UK, we're in Berlin, we're in Romania, we're in Geneva, we're in the United States of America. Africa, Africa, Africa. You know what you didn't do, Michael? You forgot to talk about the BMOs, the business membership organizations. And of course, you have somebody sitting here from Nigeria who is the DG of Manufacturers Association, which is part of the organization that I'm also a member of. So I'm a member of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. And then, of course, the chairperson for the wood and wood product sectoral group of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. And so that's the entrepreneurial part of me as a manufacturer of furniture. And the rest, we'll leave it for today so we don't take up our 15 minutes. Thank you.
And Jane?
Hi, so I'm Jane Dalton. I work for a company called Abaco. We have a company in England, but the parent company is in Italy. So for the last 30 years, we have specialised in agrotechnology. And for today's purposes, we're here in terms of sustainability and traceability. And where we promote that, this is very much through precision agriculture. And we'll talk about a little bit more about what that means as we go along. We have a couple of large projects in Africa currently. Ivory Coast and Ghana, working with ENI, which is a big energy company based in Italy, and there we've got some major projects around sustainability, and we'll talk more about what that means in terms of soil and taking care of the land as we go on. So that's me.
Amazing, Jane. And you shared a stat with me, which I thought the room needs to hear, and it's about women in agriculture. Do you want to share that stat?
Yes, so one of my points was over 70% of all farmers in the world are women.
Wow.
And a lot of those are sustainable farms because women are very, very careful about making sure there is a future for the children to be passing on to, which is something that the big farms tend to forget about. They're all about today's profits. So I think that's worth remembering. We work with Malta, where I have a small cottage, a piece of land. Our front garden would be regarded as a farm in Malta, and they make it work. And they don't have the benefit of rich soil, they don't have the benefit of good water supplies, but the government work with technology and sustainability coming together to make sure that they have a sustainable future. And interestingly, for those of you who may be in from Jamaica, there is a strong partnership already working between Malta and Jamaica around the ports, but that's now extending into the agricultural arena as well. So there's some unusual partnerships around both island nations, both with similar problems.
Could I just ask, before you hand over the microphone, again, I used to work in development, and the amount of money thrown at farming and saying the one thing I would always hear is, oh, Africa's got small farms and we need to have big corporate farms. That's the only way of Africa solving the food security issue. Is it actually possible for a country to feed itself through small farms and having local production actually go in to feed a nation? Is it possible?
In what we're seeing is that it's only possible to get there if you do work with small farmers. So sorry, the big farmers are the ones that are the problem. So I'm going to be really controversial here.
We love controversy.
The problem is they are not interested in 10 years, 20 years. They're interested in today's profits, today's shareholders. And what you will have seen and again, I'm going to be very controversial here, and this is me speaking not for my company, but if you look at what the UK government has just done to small farms in the UK, and those farms will be sold to the big conglomerates. They will not be sustainable. They're not interested in the long term. Sorry, that's my personal opinion.
I mean, people are agreeing with you.
Unfortunately, our government doesn't.
Don't worry, but we have the power of the vote, so we all get together and we can vote. So I'd like to ask you, Ngozi, we talked about women's role in farming. And again, I've worked in development for the past 15 years, and what I always hear is, and I always see these reports of, the woman on the farm, and I see billions going to female empowerment, but I never actually know, are things changing or not? Like in the last 15 years, have you seen a positive increase in livelihoods when it comes to female entrepreneurs and businesswomen?
Oh, definitely. It's been a long journey. But we all know, before I start, I've got a tradition. I always like to recognize women in the crowd. So when I say women, you say, yes, we can. Okay? So, women! Yes, we can! Thank you. So, this conversation, it's not going to be only me sitting here and talking about it. Because whatever we're saying here, every woman has an answer. So, as we're having this conversation, I'm going to get a few of you involved. Talking about Africa, even the Caribbean, or across the world, women have come a long way. A lot of empowerment, encouraging them to get into the workforce, getting all the entrepreneurs to pull out all their potentials. We talk about voice, but again, there's still a long way to go. Yeah. There's a lot to do amongst the women. For instance, farming in Africa used to be for the underprivileged. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants to dirty their hands. Everybody wants to do the cushy job in the bank, be all that. But I always say that today, farming is something that is very, very important in Africa and has taken a new tool where it's actually very posh to be a farmer. With the new things that are coming, aside the challenges women have, especially financing, and the many challenges women are facing. Financing. Go ahead, tell me.
What are the challenges women facing? Access to land. That's a big one. That's a big one.
And thank you. Women, wake up. Excellent. Finance. So those are the challenges that the women have. But you know what? Aside these challenges, they've been able to, overcome a lot of it. Of course, tech.
Yes.
Even the smartphone for the simple farmer is something that's a tool that women are using. WhatsApp is not for business. You want to just put up all you're doing on WhatsApp and you send it out. You put it on the channels and it's out there. You put it on TikTok, you're talking. So women have become a bit more aware of the use of technology, even as small as the telephone.
Interesting. There's a stat that says women make about 80% of consumer buying decisions, leading to better selling products in firms with women across their ranks. So in other words, women they know what they're buying, they know what good product is. So if you invest in them.
Obviously, we know the roles women are playing.
Yeah.
They're nurturers. They make a good social impact. When you train a girl child, what happens? You train what? A nation.
A nation.
That, and again, like we say, it takes a village to bring up one child.
Yeah.
And this is across Africa, and of course, even in the Caribbean or across the world. So when you talk about such information, you're talking about what the impact that giving a woman a chance out there, the big impact she would make in the society or in the community. Stop giving me the sign, it's 10 minutes. I'm trying to keep it short.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Jane, so I would love to know, you talked about precision agriculture. I don't know much about precision agriculture. Could you talk to me about that, but actually also link it to how you are filling the tech gap to actually make sure that farmers are getting more yield, but in a sustainable way as well?
Right, so that's a big one.
It is, sorry.
So, okay, to keep the precision agriculture really short and simple, and I'm sure most people in this room probably already know, but what it's really about is to make sure that those people who are actually working on the land have the right information to only apply interventions, and by interventions I mean everything from ploughing up the land to applying chemicals, that it's only done where it's necessary. So rather than mass spraying everything in sight, so you kill anything and everything just in case, which is what happens in a lot of the world, especially the developed world, where you kill all the good things along with all the bad things, and you poison your water courses, and you kill all the things in the soil that make the soil useful. This is all about making sure that it's only applied in a very precise way. And that can be everything from linking through satellite to big machines who are going out into the field, robotics, drones. There's all sorts of technology, but it's also about putting the right data in the hands through your phone of the farmer so that they know what, how can I say, it's probably presumptuous to say they know what to do, because a lot of them know what to do anyway, but it's giving them data to empower them so that whether they're big farms or small farms, the application of chemicals, the interventions is linked directly to need. And that's done very much through lots of spatial data, satellite data, pulling all of those various sources together. We had a really interesting conversation last year with Minister Floyd from Jamaica, the agricultural minister, and he was saying he's absolutely flooded with data. They've got technology galore, they've got data galore, but it doesn't come together and actually tell them anything useful. And that's the point. You've got to have a data platform that will bring it together and will make it into useful information. Otherwise, you're just inventing new technologies for the sake of it. You know, we've invented bigger and bigger tractors to compact the soil more and more. So we put bigger tires on them saying that will not compact. And then you look at the growing patterns from satellite imagery and you can see what the compaction is doing. You can see the runoff, you can see the erosion. It's not actually rocket science because our grandfathers knew it. My grandfather was a farmer, and I now see the old thing of rotating your crops, of leaving it fallow with cover crops, all coming back. In the UK, we talk about regen farming as if it's something new. You know, don't plough, don't interfere. Yeah, okay. Well, if you talk to your grandfathers rather than rubbishing them, you might actually have already known that. I will hand over.
No, I love it. I love it. As I said, the ancestors were very smart as well, you know. It's a very, very good point. It's a very good point. You wanted to add to that?
Yes, I wanted to add. But you see, it's great what you're saying. However, in Africa, when it comes to agriculture, in the villages or in the rural areas, but I like to use the word village because you know, it makes it really down to earth. We don't have those compactors, we don't have those tractors. So what we're doing to make sure the women are up to date is we're getting them trained, education, making sure that these women learn, open them up to, you know, see, in fact, getting in investors, encouraging all of you to get into Africa and put down all these stories we're telling here. Sometimes, we sit down in a group and we just tell stories. Come with me to Africa, and I'll show you where to invest your knowledge. And I'll show you the things that the women need. And I'll show you what it is. Even if it means teaching that woman how to drive that tractor, teaching that woman, we can't sit in the room here and tell stories. We need to go out there and act. We need to go out there and speak to them directly. When you want to involve a woman in any conversation and you don't bring her to the table, you won't know what she really needs to survive. So it's okay for us to have all these conversations. But you know what, women, please, where are your voices? It matters a lot. We need to come together some more and speak in one voice and get together and pull the other woman in the rural area to see what is happening in the city. And I'm being very personal today. Bobby, you've got tech. We need you in Africa to bring tech to Africa as a woman and work with us. We have other women who are doing great. We have a lot of us in here. Please don't sit in England. Come with me and let's go home. Yes.
Yes. Just on that question, because I would like to ask you both this question. It's great to take one investor to the Caribbean, to Africa, but actually I feel that we need systematic change and systematic opportunity, and you cannot do this without good policy. And I wanted to know from both of you, what would you ask a politician, what kind of policies, legislations would you ask a politician to implement that will actually, one, take off a lot of the shackles that are holding women entrepreneurship back, one, and two, actually allowing smallholder farmers to play a critical role in actually being able to feed the nation, but also do so in profit. We've seen in the UK with this whole palaver around inheritance tax that a lot of farmers are saying that we have not made money since the 80s, my friend, sometimes the 70s. So why are you growing? If you're not making money, why are you growing? And I feel that that's an issue, and that's a policy issue. So I'd love to know from both of you, what legislation do you actually want to see changed?
Yes. One of the major things that I would suggest is having a gender-responsive policy in place. In certain areas, women have no rights to properties. Women have no rights to farmlands. Women are scared. Some of them get raped. If you don't have a farmland, you can't even function. So those are very important. If you have women suffering from gender-based violence, there are women who are so scared to speak. So government or even the private sector, because I never always say that in a community or in a country, you should only speak to government. I think the private sector should also get involved. It's a three-way thing. Most governments have them up there, and then the local government and the private sector, and so on. So the three-tier government needs to be together and speak on the table and change those things to give women training, to give them an listening ear, hear what they need, put laws that are very stringent on gender-based violence. Talk about all the health. Women have a right to their bodies. Health change. You can't tell a woman what you want, female, the mutilation of the female, and so on. Those are things that are very, very important if we really want these women to be very proactive in politics. And then we talk about stereotyping, talking down at a woman when she speaks. I remember the first time I went to the board, I was member of the board, and I got there, and with my tiny voice, I like it when I get challenged, but I always say, men are allies. I never underestimate the power of having a man in my corner. Hey guys, man, are you there? I never underestimate it. It's not a competition. So whatever I'm saying, I'm not a feminist. I do not believe in feminism. I believe in being more inclusive and diverse in anything that we're doing, just like David has done, bringing us together in one room. So such policies, I think, have to really be considered. Thank you.
Thank you.
To be honest, I don't think I have an awful lot to add to what you've said. I think I would agree totally with everything you've said as a woman to a woman, but also as a, should we say, mankind. You know, my big thing is, in terms of sustainability, is how we make the world listen. And I don't think that's just down to any one government. Governments meet, they talk, we all hear about COP, we all hear about all the environmental policies, but we still see the Amazon being depleted. We still see our big corporate companies effectively paying farmers to cut down trees to grow palm oil because we want palm oil, we want castor oil, we want. I don't know how we actually make that change, but we have to. If we don't, then we won't have a planet to talk about.
And we'll definitely talk about sustainability in following moderated panels for sure. But it's a very, very good point. And Ngozi, you had one more point to make.
I was just talking about how great Rwanda has been giving women the quota system. When you're able to give a woman space to be on the decision table, then yes, you're talking about transformative leadership. Until that is done, you will not have more women there. So I think we should talk about giving quota system to women. I've been gagged. Thank you very much.
On that note, can you please give a rousing round of applause for Ngozi and Janet? Honestly, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And this is just the start. They will be around for networking as well, so you can, of course, engage them during the breaks as well. Yes? Yes, you're free. Freedom. Thank you so, so much. We're going to have a conversation later on, don't worry. So don't share all your secrets too early, yeah?
Hi everyone. Is this cozy? Hi everyone. Is this working? It's working. Okay. Well, Michael, why didn't you allow me to invite my guys?
I was trying to save you work. Just, you know.
Okay. Thank you. But no thanks. No thanks. All right. Good morning, everyone. We are having a welcome. So how come I'm not even sitting in the middle? So you didn't do my work well. Okay, I think I'll just stand here. Thank you, Missy. All right, we had a beautiful time yesterday, and I think we should just put our hands together to appreciate David. Lovely. Everyone, we're discussing the diaspora engagement and collaboration in the digital economy this morning, and we have distinguished guys. I would have loved to read the citation or a brief profile, but well, he jumped the gun. So I'm just going to continue. And for the last panelists, can you please appreciate them? That was a fantastic one, especially from my sister from Nigeria, that Ngozi. My thank you, Paul. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the discussion around how can diaspora people encourage people in the global digital community. Yesterday we coined the word glocal, like from the word global and local, and so we're talking about globalization of digitalization this morning. And I'm looking at the people in the panel, and I'll be asking them questions because we don't really have time. So there's this issue around the role that Dr. Mitchell there's this role that we expect that diaspora people can play in the digital economy, in the globalization agenda. What role do you think diaspora can play in encouraging bridging the digital divide that exists in the local environment? Thank you. 1 minute, please.
Um, I think as a person that is involved in already in my home country, as well as my host country, I think that we have a responsibility in the diaspora to connect these two countries. Not necessarily just where I live in Canada and where I came from in Guyana, but I'm talking across borders. So, what I do in terms of that and making that kind of connection, I use all of my knowledge to bring back to my home country, Guyana, so that I can upskill, so that I can teach people. As a professor in Canada, I actually teach fintech. So I know my colleague here does that as well. But I teach fintech, and I think that's one of the ways that we can actually bring back some of our expertise. I'm a big believer in the reverse brain drain. I speak about it very often. We came out of our home countries. We came out of our home countries so that we can upscale ourselves, develop ourselves, live better, whatever the reason. Now that some of us, like myself, have been away for about 30 years, we want to go back. We want to bring some of that expertise over time back to our home countries. Now, here's the thing. I'm in for my minute. Here's the thing. I think what we have learned, particularly myself, for example, I did all of the trading in stocks and bonds and options and all of that fun stuff. I think if we take some of that knowledge back to our home countries, we can actually influence how business is conducted. And I'll tell you what, within the digital, yeah, with the digitalization of everything that has been happening, that should be so much easier now than it was before. Take, for example, even for dealing with, within this planning of this event, I had never met David Roberts. It's digitalization that brought us together. All of our meetings were conducted through that. So it should be a lot easier now. And I think our responsibility in the diaspora is that we need to bring that skill set and we need to foster that development in the home country.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Did you do it like this?
Yes.
Just say, excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir.
Okay, you want to contribute to that?
Yes, I think that was a great point that she made. I think the two main things that I would like to add is effectively communication and connectivity. I think Michael, who is the moderator, said before, he's always sending money to his aunties and uncles. And I think all of us have an obligation, maybe not myself as much. I think loads of people here have an obligation where they feel like, okay, I've come to UK, US, where it's more developed and there is a pressure on me to make sure that I am providing for my family back home, etc., etc. And fast forward in the times we live in now, especially after COVID, Teams, Zoom, WhatsApp, we're all having conversations with their aunties and uncles, having stories, like you said. Enough of the stories, let's start with the action. So I think now it's easier for us to have that connectivity. And if we're having those connectivity, what are we doing with our communication? How are we upskilling? Are we going over there and running mentoring schemes? Are we going over there and running workshops? How are we actually affecting the local businesses over there and the local organizations? So I think the two main points I would take is communication. Let's work on maximizing that, and then connectivity in terms of how easy it is now to have those conversations and have those actions.
Thank you. Please, let's appreciate them. Now that a guy has spoken, you take the microphone to the lady. But before you speak, I wanted to ask you, there are a lot of digital access in the developed for diaspora people, and there's so much limited access in the local environment. For right of way in Nigeria, where I come from, for a telecommunication company to give you a right of way, that's like about $145,000 per meter. In my state, where I currently serve as an advisor to the governor on public health, it was reduced drastically so that we could put pipes across internet connection across the state, and all of that. It's a state of about 3 million people. What do you think the diaspora people can do to help the local people bridge that access, that digital access?
Thank you. I will just add something to the previous questions that we are already seeing the very large numbers of money going to the local communities, and there is a demand for digital transaction in local communities because the diaspora communities is educating the receiver on better type of transaction, and they are demanding for digital economy and a better way to also invest in local communities to promote the economy in their local in their home country. There is an infrastructure issue because there is the penetration of smartphone, the access to data. These are ways that the diaspora can invest and promote access to these essential tools to promote digital economies. There is also the first thing that someone receiving, actually I will speak for Haiti, my country. The first thing someone do when they receive international remittance, they go and buy a smartphone, and they add data so they can speak on WhatsApp to their family to ask for funding. But as we all know, it's
Okay.
that auntie asking for money. It's the same everywhere. But they are asking for marketplace where they can directly pay for service, pay for school directly for the kids they are supporting, pay for medical services. They are also financing their own retirement in their home country. They are building this house. So there is a demand, and I've seen several platform initiatives being in place, such as digitalization of loan and saving groups in villages, and that is promoting and putting effort for women to be able to save and access to international funding from the diaspora.
Okay. All right.
So we are seeing the initiative, and they have to be encouraged by government incentives and promoted by the diaspora as well.
Okay. Yeah. Please, I appreciate that. Yeah, Chris. Yeah.
I don't think we're giving a very good representation of our families back home right now. I want the 8-bedroom house that you said. I'll be asking them for money to send it this way. No, one of the things, recently I was in Kenya last week, and when you talk about digital transformation, when you talk about access to these kind of things, one of the things I was greatly impressed at does everyone know what M-Pesa is? M-Pesa is a game changer, right? Just for Kenyans alone, that it does not matter whether you're in a 5-star hotel or you're with the Maasai tribe, you can pay without a smartphone, right? Just with a text message that actually you can pay everyone from 50 pence to £1 to £500. Digital transformation is needed, but also some of the systems that are more applicable for certain places, like you're not going to run Wi-Fi lines out into the middle of the Masai Mara, right? Or have things like that. So I think it needs to be applicable for what you're actually doing. In some of the informal settlements we're working with, digital transformation can be a game changer. So we're looking at, for instance, creating an app at the moment that would actually allow artisans in these areas to sell directly to consumers abroad. And that would actually give them financial independence because it gets paid into their accounts, especially women's accounts, right? Because they find that when you give men money, we seem to ponder it, right? So, and it is one of these things when you look at these microloans, there's a project in India at the moment where, 100% of microloans given to women have been fully paid back. 100%. Do you know what the rate was with men? 20%, right? Men, when I say it, you say, yes, we can. Yes, we can, right?
Okay. So, Chris, don't get off that microphone yet. Chris, what do you think? How do you think that we can leverage? Yes, we can. To help the digital economy. So the young people, they have quite a lot of ideas across all sectors, all spheres, and then they just need a leverage. They need this leverage. They need this app company, who is the IT people here building app? You? So they need people like this to build their app for them, so that they can have this technical partnership with you, like you could be a technology partner in the diaspora. How do you think you can access that kind of opportunities? Lovely opportunities, I mean.
Yeah, I think it's a more complex question than that, because here's a perfect example. You know, in Kenya last week, I was working with across a couple of schools, and one of the things that we do, we're an NGO, an environmental NGO around ocean conservation. So we deliver these courses, right? And we said we want to make it accessible, right? We want to make it digitized. The issue is that we're working at One Hive, Bruce Shop here, and a lot of the schools we went to, they actually don't have electricity. So we can talk about digital transformation across brilliant, but actually that's not the first point of call. It would be electrification. For electrification, you can then go on to these things. So actually, I don't think it's just about, you know, it is about us going out there. It is about NGOs. It is about back home to share the knowledge and mentorship and all these things. But it's like, you know, the famous saying, give a man a fish. Yep. Yeah, teach man's fish. No, he won't if you don't give him a fishing rod.
Thank you.
It's not true. Facts. Equip them with what they need.
Okay, thank you. My question goes to the
Sorry, can I just add to that, please? I just wanted to add to something with what Chris is saying. To give people that well, the things that they actually perform with to make sure that they get to that other point. So the digitalization, yes, all of that is needed. Us going back to our home countries, yes, that is needed. But to our home countries, yes, that is needed. But you're quite correct, Chris. For example, my husband, who's here back there, and they have a satellite communication. They have a satellite communication company that they started in Guyana. One of the things that was very evident is that you can't just go to a country like Guyana and focus within the towns that has fiber, etc. You want to go into those underserved and unserved areas and bring things first and foremost, like satellite, that will give them that better connectivity. However, something that Chris had really resonated, because even in taking those, satellite communication, etc., to those areas, first, we had to provide electricity, because in a lot of cases they were not able to connect otherwise. So all of that, however, I want to say forms the foundation for that transformation.
Thank you. Please put the microphone to the fintech lady. There had been a lot of innovation, digital innovation around fintech, right? And some of the local people, as in local ways of saving money, like in Nigeria, something that we call alajo, kolo, all those, you put a box in a corner and you put money every day, and at the end of the year you break it. You know, that kind of thing. Quite a lot of innovations are out there. How do you think that we can leverage the cultural, financial intelligence of the local people, with the current digital technology, from the diaspora?
I think it's already happening. The diaspora is already transferring a lot of their knowledge and their digital habit to the local communities, and this is putting a pressure to the ecosystem as well to step up and becoming more digitalized. We are facing the infrastructure issues, that's true, but we also need the communities locally to organize in network and to be able to provide what they need and to connect to the diaspora network. Those platforms are being put in place. It is necessary that it brings that leverage to the local community so they can construct wealth, and the business can capitalize and bring more value to the communities as well. So the diaspora, what they need, they really need those different platforms, trusted, transparent, and secure platforms to promote the local business, to invest in the local business. So this initiative
although they are very resourceful for fintech or for any local initiative to be in place. It's a lot of money and lack of scalability. It is the pressure of the digitalization the diaspora is putting on the local economy that will bring more and more of this platform in place and make it more accessible and bring this
Thank you.
connection to the local.
Thank you. Now to Leon. Leon. Okay, as a cybersecurity expert, and you have collaborated with quite a lot of organizations globally to address cybersecurity challenges. What do you think? How do you think that we can mitigate the challenge of cyber attacks and all of that in the digital age, cyber bully, especially in the age where our children and everybody does quite a lot of things online?
That's a very, very good question. It's a long-winded one. So I would say a lot of the times when I'm having conversations with organizations, the ones who are very mature, they have all the skilled workforce in-house. So when I'm talking to them about cybersecurity threats or solutions that they are looking for, they know exactly what they want. They know exactly what they're trying to achieve, and they've had years of experience of incorporating an in-house team that allows them to, if they have any solution, to roll it out and for it to be used cohesively. Now, the major problem and challenges that other organizations have is they just don't have those resources. And I think that's also similar to us bridging that gap. A lot of it is about either resources or a lack of strategic partnerships. So again, a lot of the mature organizations have those partnerships in place where they're working with the big corporate organizations that can provide them with the solutions or the services that they need. So it's a bit easier for them to roll it out. Whilst the younger and immature organizations, they don't have either the skill force in place or they don't have the strategic partnerships. So a lot of the times they're outsourcing, looking for the managed service providers to provide that for them. And I think if we relate it to how we can help, a lot of the time I think is that skilled workforce. It doesn't always have to be via us UK over there. It could be trying to have people on the ground. And I think the way I like to give an example of is if you're building a house, a lot of the times, a lot of us have properties in Ghana, Nigeria, and you're in the UK. If you're not going to Ghana every 2-3 months to see if your house has actually been built, what happens? You go back and the money you've been given to your auntie or your uncle, it's not actually growing. The house is not materialized to where you want it to be. So sometimes it's having that strategic partnership with either someone you trust.
Thank you.
For that
Please clap for him. Clap for him. That goes home. That point really went home. Okay, so I'm just going to round up with the last question, and I'd expect you guys to just like 10 seconds. And I'm starting from Ellie. So after Ellie, Dr. Mitchell to Leon, and then to Chris. And the question will be, if you are appointed a diaspora digital ambassador, what will you do in 1 minute to encourage local innovation, local digital innovation?
Encourage the government to incentivize the fintech's innovation.
Incentivize?
Private sector as well. We've seen a lot of incentive for the traditional financial sector. Now we need to incentivize the digital transaction and the digital world of...
Please, a round of applause for her. Incentivize digital infrastructure.
100% agreed, but also you have to be able to utilize us out here in the diaspora to do some of those training that we mentioned before. I think that's going to be a big, big help.
Thank you. Utilizing trade, Leon.
I was going to say mentoring, so that point of us helping them, and opportunities. I think her name was Bibi, was discussing it yesterday regarding providing those opportunities to the underprivileged or maybe graduates so they can see that actually that's something that I could aspire to do. And I've seen it because I've spoken to everyone here who's done it, had the years of experience.
Mentoring.
Yeah, what I would say is, as a final one would really be to actually, if you're going to help this transition, look at it in a very holistic and an authentic way and create an actual strategy, not just a one-off, I'm going to help someone one time. Look at the needs of the community first, fix those needs as part of that transition, because then if they don't have that, they'll never get a smooth transition. So it's
Fantastic.
be authentic in your strategy.
Yeah, look at the needs. Please put your hands together. So I will round up by saying that, by just making a last comment on what everyone has said. The need of the local community is mainly technology and technical partnership. There are a lot of beautiful multi-billion dollars ideas sitting in the local environment. If they could have access, they cannot pay for $2 million to build an app. They can't pay $500,000 to do this stuff. So if you have the skill, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many opportunities right there that will solve the problem at the local level. Thank you. I hope we've done well. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Dr. Michelle, Leon, and Chris. You may now go and have your seat.